sit and what they feel. And certainly I think the whole fight is predicated on what everybody else has known and read. Just the two questions that have to be answered, and both have to be answered at the same time. Round 9. Charles up on his toes. Joe Louis back down on his heels now. Joe Louis superbly conditioned. He had to be for this kind of a fight. The two right hands that Charles put in were the toughest two of the fight. Joe just remained erect. The two hardest, of course, by Charles. Joe put one in early in the second round, you'll remember. But he's scoring his punches at will now in the first minute and a half of this big round. 2 minutes to go in this round. Charles scoring with telling punches. Joe watching, never closing his eyes when the punch comes at him. One of the great attributes to his fighting ability. Joe is now bleeding and suddenly had a look of that tired feeling on his face. Perhaps just remarshaling his forces. But the fight is now going to the pattern the experts declared would be. Now the punches are coming at will as Charles watches to see what he can do with Louis and punches to prove it. The greatest of the great champions with his record in the record book and the youthful aspirant to the undisputed world heavyweight crown. 1 minute to go this round. There he is, Joe Louis at 36, Ezzard Charles at 29 years of age. Bob Fitzsimmons was 37 years old when in his first title defense he was knocked out by Jim Jeffries. Fitz, however, was 52 years old when he fought his last battle back in 1914. So we'll bring the age question to you as Charles keeps pouring it in. Starting to mangle Joe Louis's face now. And Joe Louis has brought a tremendous rush of claret from the nose of Ezzard Charles. He got one in close there. It was a left uppercut. The round is almost over, some 15 seconds to go. And that was Joe Louis getting in one of his telling punches. Charles wiping the blood away. It was a beautiful left just a moment ago. The round is almost over. And there you had Joe Louis taking a copious beating throughout the round, number 9, from Ezzard Charles, and then suddenly in the last 25 seconds, scoring with a delightful inside left uppercut with a tremendous amount of telling impact, slowing up Ezzard Charles as the blow landed heavily and did damage to Charles's nose, which is now, of course, being treated by that capable trainer, Ray Arcel, who, as you look at the ring at this particular moment, is in there working on the left of your camera as you see the back of Ezzard Charles' head. And they'll let Ray Arcel do all the work. Well, there you have the spectacle again of the NBA heavyweight champion, always striking out in the first minute and a half, and then Joe Louis suddenly springing into action. And now the comments around the ringside as my ears listen are, it's not the same Joe. Well, of course, at 36, with reflexes slowing down, it still may be the same Joe. He's fought fights like this before, and suddenly when he found that opening, shot those devastating blows. Round 10 coming up. Well, with 2/3 of the fight almost gone by and both boys needing refreshments, I would presume that as I do, I would always enjoy that Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. How about you? The claret has come quickly again from Charles's nose. It's his right nostril, and Joe keeps banging away with that left. Now you have Ezzard Charles leashing and lashing. How much effect a bleeding nose will have on a fighter, I don't know. It's an annoyance, undeniably, and causes motions with the hands which should be held. So it may be that the bridge of that nose has been badly damaged. It appears that way. Joe is working on him, and Joe with the counter that time almost caught him. 2 minutes to go of the 10th round. And if anything, Joe seems to be stronger now with the advantage of having hurt his opponent. So both, because their heads are banging together, are covered with just a bit of blood. Joe is now stalking. The sight of the blood has enraged him. The crowd senses that he's after him, and that's why you hear the roar in the background. The cameras go up. Charles backing away. Joe goes in. Left eye closed, the nostril breathing. That's why he's backing up. Joe is after him. Joe Louis now stalking his prey. Waiting to work those combinations off the left. In close then, the camera couldn't reveal it. A terrific short right. It landed on the button of Ezzard Charles, and he's bleeding more profusely. Joe's best round now, and the crowd roaring with it. 1 minute to go of the 10th round. Knees buckling slightly. Ezzard Charles backed against the ropes that time. Joe constantly looking for that opening. This is the drama. This is where what you see tells you what you want to see. Charles beautifully spinning Joe Louis around when in trouble. Half a minute to go, the 10th round. Joe Louis showing his best. Almost 30 minutes after the fight began. So the question of 36 years of age seems to be disproven at this moment. Charles lashing back as best he can, and yet showing that agility and flexibility and the fluency as the round is almost over. And they'll have to work on him, and work on him hard in his corner. Here's the bell. To round 11. Like all crowds, what's gone before means nothing in the memory of what Joe did in that last round. That Charles fights back. He's certainly a match for Joe tonight. No matter the outcome, he's giving Joe a good battle. There's something that may be an indication of the end. As Joe put in a powerful punch to the body, he took 2 or 3 counter punches, 2 rights that were sort of loosely set to the head, so that Ezzard Charles was not disturbed and was willing to flail back. A left uppercut that time by Charles slowed Joe down. 2 minutes to go in the 11th round in what has been a good fight. And that's not giving expletives away either. Well, the crowd certainly has been roaring its approval, just as you'll approve Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Now the minute and a half of the round has gone by, and we'll have to see whether or not this is where Charles will step backwards and allow Joe to come to him. Joe will lead and Joe will counter, and this is an unusual procedure. Joe's best weapon is left hook. Ezzard Charles, that best weapon being a left but a following straight right, whistling for the jaw. Those who have missed this fight, I think, have missed something. 1 minute to go of the 11th round. And the procedure remains the same. Procedural-wise, Charles lets it slow down. Gets to his corner and takes that recuperation. Joe's eye, his left eye is almost closed. In fact, it is, you might as well say. He has a difficult time opening it. Ezzard Charles' left eye is also closed, and now the blood is not flowing as it was earlier. Isn't it wonderful, in a sense, to realize that a man 33 pounds less will spin the heavyweight champion around on occasions? Condition is certainly something of a great asset here, because you see Charles lashing back now after the damage of the last round. And this round is almost at an end. It will be the 11th round, the end of it. And much to talk about and much to figure. We'll wait for the bell. Well, there it is, the bell ending the 11th round.